Welcome to the Mashup.
Tell me whether I'm wrong or right. East or west, up or down, side to side. I sit to stand and fall to fly. Of all of my impulsive plans, popping, locking, salsa dances on demand. I follow leading off the map and stop the chatter, scream happily.
Welcome to the Mashup.
Welcome to the mashup. Welcome to the welcome to the mashup.
Welcome to the Mashup.
So, I'm consistently one of the guys who's quite often the first guy in and the last guy out at work. And I've been like that pretty much my whole life. And it occurred to me, just for the first time the other day, that maybe I'm not some awesome, go hard, do good, rootin' tootin' guy. Maybe I'm just fucking slow.
You're slow, all right. Mashup 219. Am I delayed or you glitching out on me? Like, am I fine?
I don't
Does
know.
everybody see me? I don't know.
You seem normal here, like for you.
Yes. Careful. I walked myself into this. Okay, fair enough. Welcome to Mashup 219. Once again, Twos was not supposed to be here, and now Twos is here again. I'm like, the guy, folks, text me, okay, I can't make it. Not gonna be in? Not a problem.
No.
Not a problem. No big deal. No big deal. I will solve this problem. I'm gonna line up some people. Enter in
let's not
Karla
be
Treadway,
revisionist.
right? Like enter in Karla
Karla.
Treadway. Hey, Karla.
Why is Twos here? I've been practicing my misogyny all week. I
Right.
was like
See, we had a whole skit ready to go.
Oh.
And then Twos shows up. I'm like, what the heck is going on here?
I have no idea what's the misogyny. I'm personally hurt by that.
women. Huh? P.S.
You know what?
Speaking of running late, I think Sean gave me the link at 10:59. I was sweating.
I sent you the link like an hour and a half ago.
Weird. No, it's not there.
You know what? People just, I sent the link. You know who's also running behind and who's supposed to be in here? Oh, boom. Vesper. Hey, how's Vesper doing this morning? Hey?
Vesper is well. Was just out in Gotham City last night. I'm sorry I'm late. I need to get up and get some coffee. And then Twos called me because he was looking for some panties and just delayed me. I'm sorry.
Uh-huh.
I was sitting
but
here.
I found them, Twos. You said I couldn't find them, but I found them. And in pink.
Oh, perfect. I just hope they're narrow enough.
I think they are. I think they are. I tried my best.
Mashup 219 is going to be on a little bit of steroids this week. We're going to be doing the hot stove here. 4 people in on it. Twos wasn't supposed to be here. Twos is not supposed to be here. And here he sits.
Right. He was supposed to be looking for panties, but he made Batman go look for it.
There you go.
Okay.
Good morning, Karla.
Details on the panty story?
No.
He's just pulling an audible. Okay, so to be clear to everybody, because Sean is trying to rewrite history the same way that
history?
Fauci is. What I actually said.
Actually, I plead the Fauci.
Okay, exactly. So Sean's going to rest on his Fifth Amendment rights, but what had actually happened was that I was tentative. I got told to expect to have to work today, but it wasn't certain. And so I said to Sean a couple weeks ago, I'm probably going to have to work
to the point,
today,
Twos.
but it's not 100%. And so then Sean said, we're going to have contingency plans in place, and we're going to have Karla and Vesper on, and then if you make it, you make it. And now he's like, oh, yeah, Twos was supposed to be
Dude,
here.
this
Twos
is
was
the perfect SummerSlam team, by the way. This is 1999 SummerSlam. You have Ultimate Warrior, Hulk Hogan, Randy Macho Man Savage, and who would Karla be?
Shira. I don't know.
That's right.
Nicely done.
Or Queen Sherry.
All right.
You know who Sean looks like? Brutus the Barber Beefcake. That's who he looks like. He has that Brutus the Barber Beefcake look, and Twos would be Jake the Snake Roberts.
Well, I was thinking more like a bushwhacker, but that's even better.
Bushwhacker, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get this thing on the
Well,
road
first
here.
of all, good morning to everyone. Thank
Good
you
morning.
for having me. Good morning, Carla.
Yes.
Good morning, Twos. Good morning,
Nice to
Sean.
see
All
you.
right.
Good morning, Undertaker's sidekick.
Always a little dig. Always.
Okay, okay.
I've been getting digs all morning.
Before we got going and Twos is populating the thing, I'm like, you better just set it at 10. Can we just set it at 10 topics for today? And I could see him in our Google Doc, almost putting him there by spite. Here's one, Sean. Here's number 2, Sean. And I'm like, you watch. The 4 of us, we'll sit here for 7 hours if we put in Twos' regular 40 headlines of what we're going to try and cover. So, all right, let's get to it here. Twos, just zip your lip for a second. Mashup 219. First off, if you're enjoying the show, folks, make sure you like, share, subscribe, all those lovely things. And then happy Airborne Friday to Jamie Sinclair and the boys, because they'd be at their event, if memory serves me correct. Yes, Twos?
Yeah, and they're supposed to be calling in, but I didn't hear anything from anybody.
I didn't hear anything. I assume they're busier than can be. So happy times to
drunk as hell.
Happy times to everybody in Regina Beach. Okay, let's get
I
on
hope they're
to
having a blast.
let's get on to the Coots 6.5. A convicted killer of Toronto police officer arrested in Victoria. Do you want me to read the entire story, Twos?
If you could just hit, this is probably one of the darkest. I know Vance was talking about how dark. We had a couple of headlines last week. This one is kind of exceptionally dark, and if you could just hit a couple highlights or lowlights.
All right. Well,
case.
Craig Monroe, the man who shot and killed Toronto Police Service Constable Michael Sweet back in 1980, has been arrested while out on parole in Victoria. Back in March, there's no details on why the new charges he's facing. It doesn't say anything there. The story is March 14th, 1980. Monroe, along with his brother Jamie, entered a Toronto restaurant in Queen Street West and pointed a loaded firearm at patrons demanding cash. One employee escaped and managed to alert a passing police squad car, and inside was Constable
Wait, what year is this?
1980.
1980.
Why are we talking about 1980?
Because the guy who
he just
shot
got
him.
rearrested.
No,
You
I
just
get
got-
it. But what? But like, okay, what are we trying to highlight? The ineptitude of the Canadian police.
Twos.
Okay, so here's the gist of the story: is that they shot this cop, and as he was dying, they were mocking him in front of their other hostages about how he was never going to see his wife and 3 children again. He dies, despite the fact that another cop defied orders from HQ to not go in and save him. So he runs in, saves him, pulls him out, and then feels bad about it for decades later because he didn't manage to save this guy in time. That guy eventually kills himself, surrounded by articles about that dude. And our justice system let the fucking guy who did it out, and he's been rearrested now. But he would have never been rearrested if they'd have ever let him see the light of day.
And what prompted their rearrest of this?
No details yet. Just that he's been arrested.
Okay, well, I'm glad that's it. But like, what's the angle that we're supposed to talk about here? How broken the police system is?
Yes, that's literally it.
Okay, but that shit
This
is
is-
old news. Can we move on to the next one? We already know that.
Oh, okay. Well, yes.
Why are you telling me stuff I already know, Twos? You're supposed to come with fresh shit.
Okay. All right. Well, we also
Trudeau's
know.
an idiot. The Liberal Party's corrupt. Come on, give us something else, man. I want something new that
Well,
none of us know.
we've got the immigration system is broken.
We already know
We've got-
that. Next.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll skip that
Yes,
one
by
and
the
the
way,
floods of
by the way,
people
I'm not-
getting
no,
into
no, no,
Spain.
I'm not gonna
Okay.
go on
And
this.
then we can
I'm just
skip.
messing with you. I'm just messing with you, man. I'm just messing with you, bro. Just messing with you. Come on, I'm not here to make it easy for you twos. Sorry.
So
No,
why
you
why
never
are
are.
we why are we letting people out? Is it practical? Is it just a money thing? We don't have room in the jails, or is this like the bleeding heart thing? Like, oh, he's gone through some programs. We think he's better now. Like we're seeing with some recent immigrants who run away to join an ISIS group, and then they come back and we let them back in the country. Is it like this kind of story, or why are we letting violent criminals out ever? I mean, Canada doesn't seem to hold anyone long term.
Well, I mean, we need a bigger workforce to prop up Mark Carney's claims that the economy is doing really well. So maybe letting out people from jails can get more jobs. Yeah, okay, they'll do some killing and stealing, but at least the figures look good. We could prop up the economy.
I mean,
know
it's going to
a
make
shot,
things
but I'm
more
just saying.
dangerous and divided. So it's going to serve. It's going to serve.
Carla,
that.
we're already living around kooky people every day. You know them. I know them. There's so much danger around us just based on the fact that most people deny basic reality and science. COVID should have showed all of us, every single one of us, there are just lunatics walking around ready to basically end anyone that doesn't agree with them. I think that's the problem. The ideology of this government and of not just, so I'll stop talking about the government. Our society has taken a complete left turn. And I'm not saying that like politically, left turn morally, ethically, and logically on so many things. So why not just let them out? Why not just, do MAID? Why not just do all the things that like 20 years ago would have been unthinkable? I think that's the problem. We're allowing it. I have to stop blaming the government. I don't know what you guys think about that. I have to stop blaming the government. It's us. We are enabling this.
Well, I think you're absolutely right in that the people in government who are making these bad decisions would never be able to make them if this country stopped voting for those people. I get the fact that we don't, but the collective we that is this ramshackle confederation of idiots has decided to continually prop these people up despite the myriad of bad decisions over literal decades.
And this is not like new. Socrates literally died of hemlock trying to call this stuff out back in Greece about how birthright citizenship should be replaced with intellectual citizenship or voter-based intellectual citizenship. And they said he was troubling the masses and corrupting the mind of the youth. This is an age-old problem of the citizenry. Most people, Sean, I went downtown. I said this to you in our last podcast. I don't know, Carla, if I did it, I told you, but we were downtown, a friend of mine here in Montreal in the Eaton Center, and we just walked around. We asked like roughly 100 people who the Prime Minister of Canada was. Mm-hmm. This was like a few months ago, okay? Almost invariably, half, I could say with confidence, said Justin Trudeau. This is where we are. They don't even know who their prime minister is. How could we even begin to talk to them about anything else? And it was a mixture of like, Lebanese people, Syrian people, African people. We have a lot of Haitian people here too, Quebecois. The ones that didn't know knew nothing.
Montreal
the ones that didn't know it was
haters.
Mark Carney couldn't name a single policy. So it's always going to come back to us. We are voting like as if we're picking a lottery. It's literally everyone's just picking like a lottery, and I think that's what depresses me. And I used to be a part of that problem, so I'm not saying like I was always eyes wide open, but no one cares. No one wants to get involved, no matter how much I'm pushing. And I think we've made some improvements. I mean, your shows, Sean, Carla, even Steve, you guys have helped make some of the progress to enlighten or bring more people awareness. But in general, there's just so many people that could not care. And we're not even talking about the people that deny like what they're actually seeing, for example, with this government and the topics we're talking about right now.
What we're doing here is our most powerful tool. I get messages all the time. I used to be a lefty. One person woke me up, and look at all the damage I've caused. So
yeah,
like there's a ripple effect, right? We can't forget that.
That's true. That's true. I'm sorry if I'm sounding particularly cynical this morning.
No, I don't think you sound cynical at all. I just sat with Ken.
If I lived in fucking Quebec, I'd be cynical too.
I just sat with Ken Drysdale.
Well deserved, Robin.
I just sat with Ken Drysdale this morning. This is going to be fun all day long. And we had roughly a similar chat, Vesper, that people roughly don't care or find it too much to involve themselves in how our nation is governed.
Sean, I'm going to ask all three of you. When did it become that people used to say there's two things we don't talk about on the dinner table?
Politics and religion.
Why was politics? I don't know. Okay, just count me as a newbie. You guys might know. Why was politics something? Is it because it would have created fights and that's it? It's just like religion. It would have created a fight.
Yeah, I think so.
Presumably. Real quick though, just quick sidebar. There's a couple people saying in the comments that they're hearing audio issues. Everything sounds fine on my end, so if they could expand on that a little bit, maybe we could narrow it down. But keep going.
No, that's my question. That's
yeah,
really
I imagine it's just that there was a few instances of otherwise friendly people just blowing up against each other. And it's funny that it was always politics and religion. When I was growing up, I was probably a full-grown adult before I met somebody who was any religion other than Christianity. And yet it was still said like that. Don't bring up politics and religion.
Well, that's because Christians can argue just like conservatives. I mean,
that's
like,
a good point.
You get Christians around a dinner table and they can go at just odd stuff.
They'll be like, oh, the fucking Presbyterians.
Okay. Oh, sorry, Karla.
Oh, I was just going to say, like, the Christians are just so polite. When we go to church on Sunday here, everyone tells me privately how they, like, love the show. They watch it all the time, but it's always, like, a big secret. They're like, I support you. I can't ever say that, but keep going.
Yeah, actually, speaking on that, here in Manitoba, the amount of people that were like, they'd look around and then they'd be like, so we got a problem with immigration. And I'm like, yeah, you don't need to whisper it. I think everybody could just use their eyes and see it. And it doesn't make you a racist to just call out what you're seeing. It's okay. But everyday folk are pretty.
You're absolutely right, man. I mean, this week I was actually, when I wasn't trolling people on X, I was reading some old literature from Luther, some of the Puritans, and some church fathers and their writings that we have. I realized something. There's a big difference between being somebody that just rolls over and being proud and fighting. And I realized there's a happy middle between showing tenacity and not backing down. As a Christian now, I'm talking, okay? Being fearless in the knowledge that you have a God that rose from the dead and that you should fear nothing but him in a society that constantly tries to scare you and intimidate you. If you say the wrong thing, if you do the wrong thing, if you push back in any way that we don't like, you'll lose everything. This is precisely the kind of tactic that evil would pull. And I think more of us Christians should not necessarily be proud or arrogant or haughty in the way we come at people, but we should stop backing down thinking that Jesus was milquetoast. We're talking about, we have a leader that wouldn't shut up when the government told him to shut up numerous times, didn't not call out all the BS that everybody else was doing, not just the people. He was calling out regular people too. They have eyes, they don't see, they have closed their own eyes, they've closed their own ears. And there's that tenacity that's just gone from a lot of Christians. We've been too comfortable. This nation for maybe many years, Sean and Twos, has been just too, we've had it easy that Christianity was never attacked. And now that it is, everyone's kind of slowly like lurching out of bed. And we need to remind them, you can't just let this go over. I saw Andrew Lawton. I don't know if this is something, Twos, that you're going to cover. Did you see what happened with the chaplain thing?
Oh, I did see it. So Sean decided to cut everything down to the bare minimum, like the absolute.
And why did I do that?
Skeleton.
Talking about guy who's going to rewrite history, because I said these two lovely people are going to bring in stories that they've been following, and we can talk about them. So don't rewrite it on me.
We can't talk about the things that I brought up, but we're going to talk about the things that they brought up. Okay, yes, I did.
Okay, Karla, did you see what
it.
Andrew Lawton had posted about the chaplain thing?
Nope. I did
So
not.
apparently the government has forbade chaplains from praying Christian prayers or mentioning God at funerals for veterans or people in the military. Yeah, I'm just pulling it up right now. I don't know if you have it there, Steve.
I don't have it. It got cut.
I don't blame you. I just saw it. This is what it says. Andrew Lawton. This is absolutely egregious. The Liberal government has issued a directive barring military chaplains from doing prayers at military ceremonies. Instead, they're permitted only to do a non-religious spiritual reflection that cannot mention God. Mm-hmm. And we're supposed to sit back and be like, oh, Jesus is nice. Jesus is kind.
You can't even mention him. You'd be like,
no, we're saying among ourselves, right? Like pastors and, Jesus is not a pacifist. If he was a pacifist, he would not have been crucified naked on a cross. End of story. There's a difference between being cruel and unusual and shutting up and not saying anything. That's what I want. If there are Christians listening, and I'm sure there are, Jesus doesn't want you to be an aggressor, but he does not want you to shut up, because he didn't shut up. And he counted his life for a reason that maybe some of us need to evaluate. And I mean, I'm not saying I'm outside of this, but I'm motivated, Sean. That's the point today. I'm motivated. Maybe I can bring some courage from my side here in Quebec.
Well, I find this conversation really interesting because you got Quebec, you have Ontario, two sits in Alberta, and albeit I'm an Albertan now, but I sit in Manitoba. So it's just interesting to have different perspectives all come together. Now, can I move us on to Spain and Morocco?
Yes. Well, I mean, it's not exactly news. This kind of thing has been happening for a while, so maybe Vesper doesn't want us to talk about it. But yes.
Do you want to show the video twos, or do you just want to talk about it? Do you want to show a couple clips that's coming in from Spain's border?
Sure. So this is the lineup of migrants coming into Spain's border. So for those of you who don't know, and this was news to me, Spain, aside from having the Canary Islands, also has a couple kind of tiny carve-outs along the north end of Africa. And one of these is this little peninsula, and this peninsula just got opened up. And Spain recently passed some kind of a thing saying that illegal migrants can get a year of a work permit. So it's a foot in the door thing. And now all of a sudden they are just showing up in absolute droves. Like, look at that lineup. That is a bigger lineup. That's like this when Jaws came out times a million. You've got this. They're breaking into people's houses. And Pedro, it says Spain under Pedro Sanchez. Pedro Sanchez, who you can assume by the name because it's the most Spanish name ever, is the president of Spain, España. And this, by the way, is the country that has jailed separatists. The Catalan region, they had a referendum that was like 90%.
This guy's a full socialist.
Yes, he is.
He's a full socialist.
Yep.
This is Mamdani level ruling, like in New York. Honest to God,
yep.
like if it were up to Mamdani, he would have done the same thing.
Well, I mean, New York has...
This is the mayor of New York, for those of you that don't know. The Islamic
New York has a long and
socialist
history of...
mayor would allow... I mean, Biden let all these people in. Kamala would have let these socialists, man. You know what the... Karla, I'd be eager to hear what you think about this. Why are people falling for the wolf in sheep's clothing, pulling on heartstrings? When are Canadians going to stop getting fooled by this altruism? That isn't really altruism. It's really just their way of staying in power.
People are so busy and so distracted, they never ask a follow-up question. They hear the label, we're the party of love and inclusivity. Open borders, of course, like let everybody in. But they never ask a secondary question. What's going to be the outcome of that? I had interviewed Lauren Southern. She threw a pride parade in a heavily dominated Muslim neighborhood in the UK. A lot of individuals that weren't just Muslim, but practiced Sharia law. What do you think happened? It got pretty heated. Like, that's a follow-up question that people don't think about. There's a really excellent experiment called the marble experiment, where this man has this tiny little wine glass and then all these great big jars, and they're filled with marbles. And he goes, well, this is the United States, and it's got like 2 marbles in it. And that represents the amount of immigrants that they've taken in. And he said, like the narrative is like, we have to help people. We have to take the pressure off of the rest of the world. Okay, so already things are getting kind of heated with these 2 marbles. So he takes 2 mar from one of the jars and he drops it in there. So they doubled the amount of immigrants. He's like, meanwhile, he takes this handful of marbles, douche into India, bam, into Asia, into South America, just handfuls of marbles, each representing like 1 million people. He's like, okay, let's triple it. Like tripling it. Now the wine glass is about to like shatter. All the systems are breaking apart. We don't have like funding. Basically, now we're the third world. Meanwhile, we have not put a dent into any of these other jars. Just millions and millions of more people are pouring in. So the idea that we're helping people, we can't. He's like, the only thing that we can actually do is help empower people within their own nations to make them better. And if anything, like when we're taking people, we're usually taking like their best. So that's going to put these other countries in a worse off position. But we can't put a dent in the human population numbers. And all we're doing is dropping the first world down to the third world. Like the devastation that we're going to see in Spain, and I'm sure Europe, that's where everybody's going to spread. The narrative that these are just people looking for a better life. You can see in the videos, they're looting, they're setting things on fire, they're breaking into homes. People are not living in reality. This is a dangerous situation. I'm glad I live on an island right now.
If I can respond to that, if it's okay, Sean, if I'd just like to say something. It's almost like as if, crazy moment, a bunch of people got together and said, hey, this whole border thing that we all invented, different borders for different countries, this is not a good business model. What we need to do is we remove all these borders. That way we can return back to what we once were, Pangea. Now, there is no more countries and everyone can be displaced anywhere. But we've been building this society to handle this kind of structure. And there's a mathematics to it. And they're like, just throw them in. We'll figure it out later. This is what we did in Canada. This is what's happening in the States. By the way, just anyone that is just pro-America, Trump let in 500,000 Chinese immigrants. Just so we're clear, this is not just happening here. It depends on the per capita side. Don't you guys see that this whole globalization thing? I know you do, but I just want to hear what you think about it. The whole idea is to remove the idea of borders from what did Trudeau call it? He called it a
post-nation state.
Right. So the idea here is the people that are in Europe are trying to create this post-national setup, and America is the only one that's going, no. Like, it's not going to happen. We're not going to let you take over our. And so then there's
a lot of places in the Middle East who are like that. No.
That's not true. That's not true at all. And okay. I'm a Middle Easterner, so you don't get to talk about this. Okay, Robin. The reason that's not happening has nothing to do with Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, any of these places. It has to do with Islam. Okay. It has nothing to do. Dude, I've been to Syria and Iraq. There is no difference. Okay. That would be like me going between Alberta and Manitoba for me. Okay, it's mostly farms. People are nice. People are down to earth. It's the same in those areas. The idea in the Middle East is bad. America is unique in that it is America, and nobody's gonna come in because there's a loaded shotgun at the border if you try to like steal your way in. We don't have that in the Middle East. Like, nobody wants to break into poverty countries, dude.
Yeah.
No one's pining to. Hey, we need to get into Iraq.
So here's Mustafa, the thing: is the whole secret cabal of people who just want to upend the world apple cart and have simultaneously gotten every wealthy country in the world to join in on this cause to the detriment of their country, I don't think it holds water. And I get the fact that everybody is looking at me like I'm an asshole right now. And I'm sure that everybody in the comments is like, fuck him, he's an idiot. But here's the thing, is you just look at incentives. There's so much money, power, and control to be gained from being in charge in these countries in this day and age that's the end goal. It's the way countries operate if you look at any sort of Swiss economics lens. And a really easy way to maintain that control is to bring in a bunch of people who are going to vote for you no matter what the fuck you do. And you can do that by taking people who would be living in abject poverty and just letting them into your country.
Yeah, but we're right back to the problem that I said in the beginning that Sean interviewed with that gentleman. Why are we blaming the government? We're the ones that are voting these people in.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So the question
is
maybe we're trying to focus too much, Sean, on the people allowing this, like in Spain. There are elections in Spain. Am I correct?
Yes, but no. They do have elections.
No, I get.
But when they have things like referendums, when 90% of Catalonia votes to leave Spain, they just jail everybody who's vocal in it.
Okay, now I get that's a very extreme angle of it, but I'm asking. Typically, in our country, let's talk about our country. Okay, we voted in despite 10 horrendous years of policies from the Liberal government, Mark Carney.
Correct.
Yep.
The only people talking separatism are Quebec and Alberta is more down the road than Quebec is right now. Quebec tried. They're going to take some time off and they're going to come back. But right now, the question,
it's building season.
But the question is, how is it that people saw only Trump, which by the way is a threat? It is a threat to Canada, and I understand both sides of why somebody would do this. Trump is just appealing to his base at our expense, and that's fine. But Canada's in 2 months, Karla, you saw that. In 2 months, everybody forgot Trudeau. Bam. Everything Trudeau did, horrible, gone. All they see is Carney. How do you help a citizenry realize that it's not necessarily political? You know what? Don't vote for Pierre. Don't vote for any conservative. Just don't vote for these policies. Get somebody that doesn't have these policies. I don't care if they're a liberal.
They don't vote for policies, though. You're looking at this
maybe
through
that's
a
the
completely
problem.
different lens.
No, but that's the problem. Policies. Am I wrong?
They don't vote on policies, in any way, shape, or form.
But we used to, didn't we?
It's looked,
you guys know
it's
this
looked at
better
like
than
a
me.
popularity contest or like a sports league.
Okay,
You're like,
guys,
I'm going to cheer for the Canadians for my whole life, despite the fact that they suck.
Talking to some everyday Manitobans, just had no idea who I was, and I was having a little bit of fun, and I was just, and Carney came up, and I was like, "Oh, what do you think of Carney?" And I had several say, "I think he's doing a good job." And I said, "Oh, why? Why do you think he's doing a good job?" And it didn't go into policy, Vesper. It went to specifically, he's standing up for us. And if the U.S. is going to try and bully us around, we need somebody who stands firm. And I was like, really? Well, what is it? How's he been standing up, right? And I wasn't shocked, I guess. I was just more like, they've done a clever marketing strategy where it seems like he's a tough guy and we need to diversify from the U.S. because that's a good idea. And he seems like a grown-up compared to Trudeau. Because anyone I run into in Manitoba, nobody likes Trudeau. Everybody thinks he was a terrible, but
they
somehow
like tone of voice. It's
kind of what Tooz is saying in that it's a very almost superficial popularity contest.
It's
100%.
They put it
gold foil.
They put in this guy. They changed a little bit of the tone. The elbows up came out. They brought in Mike Myers, and all of a sudden, overnight, it's like they turned him into
PR. Yeah, it's a PR stunt. The whole
Yeah.
thing's a PR
Yeah,
stunt.
yeah, but it's dog shit wrapped in tinfoil.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and I can't even fault them. Like the average person, they think they're doing their due diligence. Maybe they watch CBC and Global. They don't realize that no one's actually critiquing Carney. No one's watching multiple sources. Let's say they went a step deeper. Let's say they actually watch a CPAC video and they're a political nerd like me, which nobody is doing. But let's say they get that far. What are they going to see when they open up CPAC? Or the fastest growing economy in the G7. Life has never been more affordable. So they think, oh, great. So that they're lying in the house. So, and no one's even getting to that level. So unless you're actually sleuthing and watching independent media, they actually don't know. And then they just go to work to their kids. They have
so Karla,
no
what you're
idea what's
basically
happening.
saying is that these people are all in the Matrix,
Yes.
and the Matrix tells them what to think. And the people that are outside the Matrix that come in to talk to them, you're saying they are portrayed as villains that are trying to disturb their daily lives.
Yep.
They might not even, I don't know if they think that we're villains. They just might not even be aware of us.
That's also a very valid point. I mean, as much as we're household names in our circle, it's not the whole country by a long shot.
Yeah.
So hold on, before we move on to the next topic, I'm sorry if we completely moved off of this, but I guess the question is, and look, I honestly respect the brains that are in this chat. Sean and Twos are not like super education, but like Karla is, okay? And so I'm just gonna talk to Karla on this.
Was that a nice way of calling us dumb?
No. No.
You guys are a little below the level here.
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
just
all right.
saying this because Easterners are not the same.
Let
as
me just
Westerners, okay? Let's just be
bask in your
fair.
magnanimity.
Let's just be fair. You guys don't like croissants. You like potatoes and muffins. Okay, we're a bit more refined here in the East.
Oh, there it is. Yes, you're a bit
Yeah.
more refined. Thank you, Ves, for pointing
No
that
problem.
out.
No problem. But hey, listen, if I ever needed to milk a cow, I'll come to you guys. You guys could show me how to do it.
I'm pretty sure fucking Quebec is the experts on dairy, but continue.
We pushed them more north.
And
don't
the
talk to
East
those
is
people.
pretty much an expert on milking the cow, if you know what I mean, too. Is
Yep.
from yeah, thanks.
Yeah,
Anyways,
now, if you want to know how to
carry
feed the cow,
on, carry
that's what
on,
he asked
Quebec.
us.
All right, fire away here.
Notice how they put us in the bottom, Karla, when we should be the ones on the top, and they should be on the bottom.
You just
Okay.
came for blood today.
That's right. That's right. I guess the question then is, with these minds intact, CTV, CBC, the legacy media has this kind of stranglehold on messaging. CPAC is very apolitical in that they just post anything.
Mhm.
We're all trying in so many ways. I know, Sean, you've had a couple of events that you hosted to help, and I heard they were very successful. The Cornerstone.
Correct, Cornerstone Forum, yep.
And I don't know why this is not a national movement that is happening almost like franchise. It can't be one team in just moving around the country, because the second you leave the West and come East, they're going to view it as the West invading the East with their propaganda. Why has there been no kind of like resurgence on that scale? You know, like I know Turning Point USA was doing it really well when Charlie Kirk and that was doing that. Why are we not seeing that kind of a movement of people getting together to kind of create this massive thing? And why is everyone relying on the Conservative Party and Pierre Poilievre to do all the lifting? I mean, I know you didn't do this.
That's not entirely true. There's fledgling attempts to do stuff like that.
But I know is the problem that I'm saying, and I'm not saying accusing you, Sean, of this, but why is it that we're not all like putting money aside, investing our not only time but our actual money collectively? Like we can get the what do you call them, Rod Glitka from the sorry,
Giltaca.
Giltaca, sorry, right? We can get people from the Sun, Brian. We could all collectively come together and say, this is what's happening to all of you who don't know what's going on. and they're telling you this is happening, but it's not happening, and maybe having a massive movement where people could come and be made aware. Why has this not been tabled on a large scale? Is it because the political parties don't want that to happen? Is it because then it becomes a citizen-led thing rather than a controlled government thing?
Well,
So you're saying why hasn't a giant event been put on?
Like
Bringing
Cornerstone times 10 across, let's say from Vancouver to Quebec.
We need like a Restore Canada movement, like Rupert Lowe for Britain right now.
Right. I don't get why it's not. I don't want the Freedom Convoy. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm talking about something properly scheduled, properly set up, where people like Karla could be there, people like Sean could be there, people that have had the privilege of speaking to millions of people, get up and explain what's actually happening. You guys can invite hosts, not necessarily just. Man, you could bring Preston Manning to talk about what's going on. You can bring what's his name, one of the signatories of the charter,
Brian Peckford.
Brian Peckford to speak. Like, there are so many people that need to be told, guys, things are changing here. Policies they're telling you everything is good, but really this is the erosion of our national identity. And
So
they're all blaming it on Trump.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
I'll shut up now.
So like John Wilkinson's, I can't remember the name of the event, but he's been doing this for a few years now. And then I think to answer your kind of overarching question though, is the problem is that it's hard to get a non-believer into that seat. Like, it's easy enough to get butts in chairs, but I feel like quite often it's a preaching to the choir situation.
I have a solution, but I'm not allowed to talk about it yet. I'll have to tell you off screen. But there are some individuals right now that are working on basically like the Fox News of Canada, not like Fox News, but right-leaning established media. It's a big project. I can't talk about it yet, but I think that's the answer. And it's not just a little fringe event and the small thing. It's like a 24/7 big monster media company.
Well, I mean, that's what Sun News tried to be 10, 15 years ago, and they weren't allowed to exist because
but anyone that's going to take subsidies from the government better follow what the government wants. And that's the problem here, right?
Yeah.
Rupert Murdoch from Fox doesn't need the government's money. I'm sure they take money, but he doesn't technically need the money. Fox is killing it, right? I thought Fox was going to lose to CNN, and Fox just ever since Tucker Carlson destroyed CNN on every level. But we don't have that at all. We have literally nothing. And even if we did, Karla, the question is this the same as granular communication, like going to places where people could interact or ask questions to people? I mean, I know the Daily Wire did this online, and then they started to kind of go out in public and do, school conversations, debates, and on and on. Who is doing this prominently now, going out and like actually
doing like
interacting?
Change My Mind?
Things like that, right? Like, how are we going out in public beyond online and actually interacting with the Canadian citizens?
There should be more street interviews. Those are powerful.
And just I don't know why maybe we're not all doing that. I mean, I can't do it in Quebec because everyone's a Looney Tune in Quebec. But why is this not happening in Ontario? Why is this not? And I'm not saying to troll people. I'm saying actually to ask them, like, on video, hey, you voted Liberal. Okay, I think Liberals are horrible, like you said. Change my mind. Okay. And then they would come and they would sit and taped and filmed and shown to everybody how nobody is aware of what the policies are. Name one policy that he's doing good.
Oh, no one will be able to articulate anything tangible or beneficial. I mean, those interviews, like, they will be trolling people. That will be the whole point of them, because they won't be able to defend.
It would be inevitable.
Yes.
But that's my point. If this is done over and over and over, would that not, would the people at the very least, guys, would the people at that event watching this interview happening live, the way like, Steven Crowder or Charlie Kirk did, won't at least the people there see that that side is indefensible? And wouldn't that at least, at the very least, change the people's minds there? And as you said, Karla, it would begin to spread. They would start to ask questions. If let's say there's 100 people, what then if those 100 people see that they can't defend their shitty position? Why wouldn't those people then go and look it up and tell other people, hey, this is messed up?
Mm-hmm.
See, you're assuming that they'll see it. That's the problem is, look at how curated your feed is. Mine's super curated. It's a bunch of people plummeting to their death. It's women in the WNBA shooting air balls. And
yeah.
Oh, you're sexist, misogynist pig. I love you.
I have Australian shepherds, conservative politics, and a bunch of like shit posting satire reels. That's I love it. It's perfect.
I'm actually curious when we're done this what Karla is alluding to, because we Two's brought up Sun News. We've had Chris Sims in here a long time, right? She's a long-standing guest, and she used to be a part of that. And like all the people they had a part of that were conservatives, and they couldn't make a go of it doing it the traditional way back then. There was a lot of things that held them up from a government standpoint. Right.
Yeah.
So
I have all the
is there
videos.
ways to get around that now because of what online
Self-funding.
the internet.
Right.
Yeah, self-funding and the internet.
And how people intake their information. I would say yes. Like
all I can tell you is there's money behind the project, and it's really high integrity, non-inflammatory, sensational individuals, just like really good people behind this project. So I'll keep you updated. But
that's cool. I would just say the thing, Vesper, you're talking about, I'm like, is it just takes time, right? Like,
I disagree.
I don't know. I'm a guy on this side who's, I don't know.
I look, this is me. Okay. I'm entitled to my view on this.
Yeah. But as am I entitled to my view.
I know I'm not saying my view is better than yours. Okay. I'm just saying nobody actually gives a shit until everything falls apart.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm sorry, I don't want to sound like not hopeful. I think we've changed quite a few minds. And let's just be clear, the conservatives aren't dragging like tens or 20 points behind the liberals. We're literally still 6 points between the Conservative Party and it's fluctuating. In fact, the Liberal Party is starting to lose its edge because shit isn't improving. I guess what I'm just saying is most conservatives have been so shoved into the corner to not talk that a lot of them forgot that they had a backbone and that but some of them have overcompensated and come off so caustic that it has completely deterred or shut off anyone from the opposite side, because they'll come out very aggressive, very insulting.
Sure. Yeah, but you're talking about something that's, it tracks across all party lines, right? I mean, how many times have you seen somebody like Gator Gum on Twitter just spouting off support for literally the stupidest, most inane shit and pretending like it's a good thing and just unwilling to accept the fact that it is blatantly bad?
That's such a dumb account. I don't know, guys. If we circle back to the news and look at like the Spain thing, when the Liberals won again, my immediate thought was, we need more pain. This is part of the process. There's no reason to get like hung up on this. Canadians need more pain. We got to keep marching and going along. And there's going to be a moment in Canada, whether it's a terrorist attack or you have immigrants flooding in, like the Spain something will happen and everyone will say, shit.
Well, I mean, this whole Gordie Howe Bridge thing, Karla, this was kind of a knock to the head to the Liberal Party, this concession that he gave Trump.
Well, and the fact that he lied about it multiple times.
Right. I mean, is there just a a full-on cognitive dissonance happening within the party? Are you guys banking on the fact that they're going to eventually say, so, okay, if we took what you said.
Here's the crisis that's probably coming is we're going to end up in some geopolitical tension and America is going to say, Canada, defend yourself. That is the moment that Canadians are going to realize how screwed we were. That America's been our army the whole time. And we've been elbows up thinking that it's like tit for tat. And it's clearly not. We're little brother under big brother. That's going to be the crisis moment.
No, we're more like little particle next to the sun in terms of self-defense. I mean, shit, man, America spends 52% of NATO's entire defensive budget. And everyone's like, we could defend ourselves with hockey sticks and gumption. Nah, you can't do shit.
They don't even have gumption. It's the shit talking
I'm sorry,
teenager.
I've seen gumption in some places of Canada, Steve. You can't say that. That's not fair. It exists. It's just that we're running low on gumption. Okay.
I would say that the gumption deficit is almost as large as the fiscal deficit, but it's just a shit talking teenager who says, "Oh, you know what? You don't know anything. I'm just gonna move out on my own."
So, okay, hold on. So if we took the Trudeau-Carney pattern, the Liberal voters had no problem getting the leader out, but leaving the party in power. Is this what the Liberals have been doing in our country, making it a personality thing rather than a party thing? Because that's smart. If the whole idea is to keep your eyes off the party and just make it one guy, a fixed symbol, you can replace that guy without overly tarnishing the party.
Well,
Why
the
are
good
we
stuff, the good stuff is the party, the bad stuff is the leader.
Right. So why then are we not collectively going after or explaining, not necessarily Carney, and this, I'm guilty of this. Why are we not going after all the policies of the party and forget Carney? Carney is just the distraction in all this.
Okay. We do. We all do on a constant basis. But the thing about it is for the masses, they're not looking at policies. They don't care about the policies. They're a guy who has a favorite team and doesn't ever watch a game. He just sees the score.
So let's assume all four of us who have voices online decided to coordinate. I'm not saying we will, but I'm saying let's assume we did.
Like do a mashup together?
No. I'm talking a blitz, right, from every angle at this. What would you guys say to all the people that do podcasts and so on? Not do the well, I mean, okay. What would you all want to blitz together? Would it be like, let's talk the liberal policies? Should it be that Sean Newman goes out on the streets, Twos goes out on the streets, Karla goes out on the streets, Vesper go, like guys like this? Should they all collectively? Should they all be part of a big overarching movement, like a turning point, whatever? I'm not saying we should call it that at all. And should we engage the public in literally downtown Montreal, downtown? Do you guys have a downtown in the West?
Yeah, it's where all the crackheads are, and it smells like garbage.
Okay, I didn't
People
know
get it
that. I
confused
didn't
with
know that you
Montreal
guys were
fairly
that
often.
developed that you had a downtown. I'm sorry, I just asked. Okay,
You
Mass
don't even have a
street
color
interviews.
camera.
Karla.
Mass street interviews are a really, really good idea. We don't do enough of that. Americans do it all the time. Street interviews show that the average Canadian doesn't know what they're talking about, or talk to the average Canadian that is, talking about their business falling apart. Show like all the homelessness and the drug addiction on the street. Meanwhile, you go after Carney the person, because we've done enough of the policy. You go after Carney the person. He's an American. He is 91% invested in the United States. He's best friends with Trump. He's MAGA. He's all of these things. And then you paint the conservative vision positively for what things could be. We don't do enough of that either. So street interviews for reality, target Mark Carney. I don't even know if it's that he's American. It's that he's elitist and has like disdain for like the common man. That is a good point to like really hit him hard with. And then where we could go.
If I could ask Mark Carney one question at a presser, it would be, when was the last time you ate craft dinner?
Never. He's never even shopped for his own groceries. he said.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. But like what you guys are talking about is change management, and there's an acronym in it. It's ADKAR: awareness, desire, knowledge, application, repetition. And so if you want to change something in a company, or well, in general, the first thing you need to do is get the people who need to enact the change aware of why it's necessary.
Mhm.
And so the change is that the liberals are not good. I would argue that the conservatives are just as not good. But for the moment, let's just talk about the liberals. You need to make
Hold
them
on,
aware
I disagree.
of why.
No, hold on. I'm not gonna let that slide. Hold on.
Yep.
I understand what you mean, but saying
Okay.
just as to me is the egregious part.
Okay. All right.
You to say that I find problems with the Conservative Party is different than saying they are just as bad as liberals, because that would mean that I could say that you are just as good as Sean and you're not. Okay. What I could say is you have elements of Sean that I like and elements of Sean I don't like. Right?
Buckle the fuck up, motherfucker. So here's the thing.
Oh,
in
I
Western
touched the
Canada,
nerve. We have to start using colorful language now.
It's a good thing we trimmed down all the news things that we were going to talk about today, because we've only done.
We haven't even done 1.5. We're 55 minutes in, and Twos was all over me going,
Yeah.
cut it all in the, we've
I don't
done
even
like,
sound like that.
I mean,
Guys,
did we even,
the people want
Don't
their
even
news.
sound like
I think
that.
we got to get into it. The people
That's
want their
Tu's
news.
defense.
Carney in Alberta, okay? Let's talk about the press conference with Danielle Smith. Can we do that, Twos?
Yeah, we can. Vesper, you
I'm going
just
on
got
mute.
saved
I'm
by
going
the
on mute.
bell.
This is not my thing. I'm going on mute.
So anyway, the wonderful mayor of Red Deer, who we talked about a few weeks ago on the Mashup, realized at the very start of this press conference that it was missing something super important. And so this is how it started.
Land acknowledgement has been planned, but I do have one to offer. As part of our commitment to reconciliation, we acknowledge that Red Deer is situated on the traditional and current lands of Treaty 6 First Nations, the Nahayek, Cree, Dene, Blackfoot, Saulteaux, and Dakota Sioux, and Treaty 7 First Nations, the Blackfoot Confederacy, Kainai, Piikani, Siksika, as well as the Tsuut'ina Nation.
She didn't even get the pronunciations right. It's not the Tsuut'ina, it's the Tsuut'ina. So in her over-the-top virtue signaling, we didn't have a land acknowledgement, so I'm just going to put one in, and she fucked it up. And that's how this thing started. And then you get to this is exactly what Karla was talking about.
Yep.
This is Mark Carney failing to keep a straight face.
I just really want to hammer this point home. We're working to make the lives of our citizens better, right? Whether it's where they live, the schools
Moose on the Loose
can't
does such a good job of like the body reading. He's always breaking this down, like looking under the table, but like that's horrific. And the last time he was in a debate with Pierre, and Pierre was talking about this woman that was sleeping on someone's couch because she couldn't afford anywhere to live, even though she was a nurse. He left. He hates the poor. He does not care. Like his whole reason for being here is to become a billionaire. That's it.
Yeah. Every time he does a press conference.
Can I just push back on that, Karla?
No.
Okay. Karla, I'm going to push back anyway. Thank you. I'm just being polite. That's all. It's just an act. I think we need to make the distinction of him not caring about people and caring more about himself. I think that's where we are. He just cares more about himself. It's not that he doesn't care about people's things. He's just leveraging this and making it for himself.
Well, let me push back on that. Do you have proof in his actions that he cares about people? Or words that he said?
Yes, and I can't show them to you now, but he has been involved in a lot of non-profit. Hold on. Get on me. I just literally said yes, and you went, Well, what's the point then? All right, you're right. He's been part of a whole bunch of nonprofits that didn't actually funnel or anything. His wife and him do believe in some things. I don't necessarily agree with some of them, but they have helped a lot of people out. The issue is, I can't, off the top of my head, they did some work in Nigeria. They did some work.
This sounds like one of those street interviews. Okay. Like, oh, he's doing so great.
Listen, if it's not going to help, if it's not going to help, I'll go
It isn't
Punisher
helping.
mode. Okay. If you want Punisher mode, I'll do Punisher mode. I'm trying to be a nice guy here. Frank Castle mode. All right. So it's really simple. I'm just saying, not that he's not a doofus. I literally go through my ex. It's him being a doofus. I'm just saying, let's make a distinction between he doesn't care about Canadians versus caring more about himself.
Okay.
And I think that's
Sure.
ultimately what I've been seeing is that he's reorganizing all the sectors or the policies to match all the sectors that Brookfield profits from the most. Period.
Obviously.
That's it. This is not because he hates Canadians. This is about, hey, look, I'll be a prime minister. I could change policies and I'll walk out with money.
It's tunnel vision for the $1 billion. Yeah.
Pretty
Every
much.
time-
Yes.
every
Okay,
time there's a
that way I'll
precedent-
agree with it.
Every time he does a presser, Brookfield makes another $1 billion. And I would argue that just because he goes to some black tie event with lobster and sous vide and what the fuck ever else doesn't mean that he actually gives a shit about anybody.
That's true.
He probably
might
just
be there
realized
for the
that
food.
the food and the rubbing elbows, which are super high up. Okay? This is like
It's a big
for
table.
people like that. Yeah, and that's where they're rubbing. So for people like that, it's like us going to a pub. They're all going to dress like they're fucking butlers, and they're going to eat food that we can't even pronounce. Okay? And it's just like
Because you
us.
don't have an education.
I've got a
can
master's
pronounce it.
degree.
Easterners know all this. And listen, a master's degree out in the West is like not even a bachelor's, a high school degree here. Listen, what I'm trying to say to you is this, okay? We need to help our movement, our side, by also not being super. I don't know if you'll agree with me or disagree with me, okay? We go
Probably
too
it
extreme
will
in the
the
way.
latter.
Yeah, we go too extreme in the way we label things, Sean. We say things like all, always. And we do this to the point where we're we come off so. Am I wrong on this, Karla?
No,
We go
I agree
We
with
sound so
being
hyper partisan.
accurate.
Oh,
I agree with being accurate. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm
All right.
not
So
saying
let
that
me.
he's
All
not
right.
mostly
That's
profiting.
fair. Almost every single presser Mark Carney does makes Brookfield $1 billion. Is that
Right.
more accurate? Is that more fair?
Yes, and I'll tell you why. It's just from my experience, and I'll stop. This whole Daniel Smith thing that you guys just showed with Carney and Carney's body language bullshit. I can't tell you how many people have been DMing me constantly about things like this with sensational, out of this world conspiracy theories that not one of them can back up with any claim other than a gut feeling. When I go dig,
like he gives to charities.
I often find, for example, the opposite is true. And it's just not convenient for our side to say that the opposite happens to be true in this particular case. And so what happens is we are just like full on tabloid sensationalizing everything he does. If he farts, he's working with China. And he might be, but you got to prove it. And our side has just, a lot of us have done great work proving things, but a lot of us are just making it worse because we look like we're all just super paranoid out of this world that we can't even reach the other side when we talk to them. Like you literally have this guy go out on the street, Karla, to talk to people and make these wild allegations. Like, do you know that Carney hates straight people? Like, what? No, you can't talk like that. You actually have to engage. This is why I loved watching Charlie Kirk talk the way he did. Even though he was able to dismantle people, he wasn't filled with wild allegations he couldn't back up. Mm-hmm. And so I think one of the things, and I'm not accusing anyone here of doing this except Steve, everybody that is, among us that's talking and teaching people should be at least very accurate. And we need to stay away from, what's the word? Very definitive language.
Okay.
Right? Like
was that clip of him laughing while he was saying that he cared about poor people out of context or crazy?
Listen, maybe it's a tick. Listen, some people it's a tick. And I don't know. We jump to these conclusions. I think some people have ticks. Okay, could they be tells? Yeah, he always does this thing, right? With like his face like this or like this. That's also a tell. But it could be ticks. I mean, Justin Trudeau said, he could, because he couldn't define a plastic bottle from a paper bottle, he called it a water bottle.
Drink box water bottle sort of thing.
Drink box
but here's,
water
here's
bottle.
the thing, is that totally tracks with everything you know about Trudeau. And to Karla's point, when she brought up the nurse, you've got now a series of established instances where, he's got this weird social tick where every time he talks about poor people, he
but
sniggers.
I've seen him cry too, Twos. like he's also cried on some things, like genuinely cried. And we have to be honest about that. Any guy that's going to get up and laugh at poverty. I mean, okay, yes. Does that exist? Probably. Do I think he's that guy? No, I think it's just he sucks in front of a camera. He just does. He's a better like central banker. When I go back, Karla, and watch his videos as a Canadian central banker or a UK central banker, he's very fluid, right? Because it's monotone, right? But the second he has to, like, remember that gay pride thing where the guy sprayed him with water and he jumped back like, like he's awkward. He's just an awkward man in front of the camera.
Yeah, I feel like if I'm at a gay pride parade and somebody's spraying me with an unknown fluid, I'm also going to be awkward too. I'm not really sure what conclusions you can draw from that, Vesper.
Daniel Smith. I can feel Karla. Gotta leave the woman in here to keep us on track. Karla, I'm doing my best, but as you can tell, I'm dealing with yahoos. Carry on, Tews.
We have 6,400 spots. I think we've got 40,000 people who have sought permanent residency from us. And so that's why I think we need a bit of a better balance. Quebec is able to choose about 45,000 of their permanent residents through a different program. And so if you're looking at the scale, we think that we need to be able to have more autonomy to do that. And then that would allow us to address some of the pressures that we're hearing about in the news, and also make sure that those who go through those programs with the hope of getting permanent residency, as long as we can identify a pathway where there's a job is one that cannot be filled by an Alberta worker, then I think that we can work with the federal government to find more opportunities for us to make those choices.
So there's Danielle Smith saying that Alberta needs 40,000 more people as opposed to the numbers that they're allowed to have from the government, which is 6,500 or 8,500. She's saying that we need way more than what the government is allowing us to have, or at least the ability to choose that.
In my rural town, we do need them. Like ending that program would be disastrous for these northern communities. We all really rely on them. There aren't workers in almost every single industry. I don't know what it's like in Alberta, but it's definitely not a black and white situation. I think it depends on the Canadian community.
I think that's totally true. But in Alberta's case, which is the people that she's paid to represent, who chose her to represent them, we're pretty fucking full.
What about your communities?
I'm in a rural community, and it is full.
Okay, I mean, I'm a bit confused. Just enlighten me here, Tews. Okay, this is something that I'm not aware of in your part of the woods. Are you saying that Daniel Smith should not need 40,000 immigrants in Alberta because we have enough people that are willing to work here? And is that the argument?
That's not only is that part of the argument, but also I would add to it, we don't have the housing to keep them. We need infrastructure, all of this stuff. Like that glass of champagne is, it's got surface tension. It's so full.
Yeah.
And you can't, if you try and force any more marbles in there, the whole thing's going to shatter. And she's like, well, the government isn't allowing us to have enough marbles. We need more marbles. Do
you think she wants this, or this is something that Carney's holding over her? Because she's making a lot of concessions to get a pipeline happening. I'm wondering if this is just one of those things.
That's the really baffling part, is that she's making a lot of unnecessary concessions with the referendum. To have a referendum coming up, she has more leverage than she's ever had, than I would argue any premier in Alberta has ever had. And despite that, she's making bad agreements and advocating for bad decisions, and none of it makes a lick of sense. We've got another one here where she where is
Can
it?
we give her props for that blazer though? She looks
hold
good.
on, but hold on before you continue. So
Okay.
I gotta share a private secret here, but that you guys need to hear. Tews is a massive Thomas Sowell fan. Okay.
Yeah.
And
that's not
Tews sent me a kind gift once, and I won't say any more than that. He sent me a book by Thomas Sowell to teach me more about basic economics. Thomas Sowell addressed this issue that you said right now, Tuz, okay? And he said that not all immigration is bad. It's as long as it's skilled workers coming into the country, right?
Well, that's actually I wanted to make that point and I got sidetracked.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
But she's saying we've got all these people who want to come into the country, but she should not be listening to the people who want to come into the country. She should be listening to the communities and the companies who are asking or not asking for it. She's literally going to the wrong audience.
But if they're about to
create,
let's assume they're about to invest in new corporations or new sectors of business in Alberta that require particular knowledge that are not for pre-existing businesses. Wouldn't that make sense then to bring in more people? I mean, if it's for Tim Hortons employees, you're right. Okay. I'm saying if it's for skilled jobs that require construction, architecture.
Okay.
Wouldn't that make sense?
You're talking specifically about entrepreneurs with enough wealth on hand to start a business and support themselves while the business develops.
I'm saying that the government of Alberta,
but you're talking about a very narrow.
I'm talking about the government of Alberta wants to do certain infrastructure projects, and we don't have enough people. We will use the people from Alberta. We don't have enough people to. What does Carney use?
We do have enough people.
Okay, so that was your original argument then. Why get people? Because we have people. But I'm saying even Thomas Sowell said that it's not a bad idea to bring in people so long as they're skilled. It would only help the province or the country or the state. Am I wrong? As long as they're skilled, that's the qualifier here. You can't just bring people in so they can go into a Tim Hortons and work at a Loblaws.
But here's the thing is what she's saying is we've got a bunch of people sending her resumes, basically. And I'm saying you don't look at the people sending the resumes. You look at the companies and say, how many people are you actually looking for?
Okay, I understand what you mean. There's just a lot of opaqueness is what you're saying from Daniel Smith as to how this process is working.
Well, that and it's set up completely ass backwards.
Okay.
Yeah. But also I missed the clip on it. It was in my notes, but apparently got accidentally cut along with so much of the other things. But she was also saying that despite the fact that we had a referendum about equalization in Alberta a few years ago, she's now pushing to tweak equalization a little bit so that Ottawa or Ontario doesn't get as much money from it. And so she's got this mandate. That's the whole point of a referendum, is to get a mandate from the masses. And the mandate that was given to the United Conservative Party, granted, while Jason Kenney was still in charge, and he did bupkiss with it, but the mandate was to end equalization. And what she was advocating for in this same presser was that we could just tweak it a little bit so it's not quite as unfair.
Yeah. Hey, Sean, can I ask you a question since you've gone completely silent on this? Don't you see this as a necessary concession to not ripple the entire pipeline conversation? I mean, isn't it worth it to have that Ontario to Alberta pipeline that you would concede these things and do these things for Carney? I mean, you can't win everything. See, people that I struggle, Sean, with people that want the entire pie. That's not realistic. It's never going to be realistic. You're going to have to lose something to get something. Is this that scenario where you think Daniel Smith? Sorry,
I don't think so. Like, it's not a great, pipelines getting built, but there are so many restrictions on it. There's the carbon capture. It's not a great deal so far. But as far as how many concessions need to be made, I don't know. But it seems clear that he's like, this isn't happening until I get the whole pie. Like, Carney's making sure that he has the pie. I see Alberta.
Well, I mean, it's the federal government. They have to have the major piece. They're not going to give the major piece to a province.
There doesn't need to be a fucking pie with this at all, Vesper.
They should be giving it to a private company and not the government at all.
This is what a normal, regular government does just as a matter of everyday business as usual. And to say that you need to make any concessions just to do your regular day-to-day job is preposterous on its head.
Why is it preposterous? That makes no sense to me. Are you saying
approving a pipeline?
Hold on, hold
Like
on.
what? If we want to build a road, if we want to build a road,
wait. I just had a moment of clarity. So, essentially, what you're saying is you're dealing with reality and what you view reality ought to be. Reality is, and I've always struggled with you twos on this, with love, of course, is that the reality is if the prime minister, which is supposed to be doing all this stuff that you say, which is on, like, just it should be that way, to pretend that they're not somehow profiting off of all these projects in, let's call it Gotham City, Canada. If you don't believe that that's the case and you think it should be this way in a very idealistic sense, then I don't know what to tell you. There's no point to continue conversating because you're working off of literally what you think it should be theoretically real in your mind, but it's not reality. Of course, the prime minister in Ottawa is going to get the major piece. When has that not ever happened?
Listen, Aqualad, what I'm saying is that we've got something like 189 countries in this world, and there is exactly one, and there is exactly one that doesn't just approve well-planned out pipelines as a matter of day-to-day business. And if you're the only country in the world that isn't doing something, it's fucking weird, and maybe you should address that.
I'm going to ask Karla a question. Karla, my problem is I struggle with idealists. And I think people look at the world in yes, I hate this reality,
I'm not
but
being
it's
utopian.
reality.
I'm saying every other country in the world does this.
I'm asking Karla a question. Be respectful to the lady, please. Karla, I just want to know, how do you deal when someone comes to you with an idealistic perspective on things rather than a what actually is, even though it's ugly, situation?
Well, I don't know. As someone in marketing, you need to have a vision for where this could go and where it should be. So you will want to be in your numbers and see things clearly, and you want to have the data and numbers to make accurate decisions. But without the vision being idealist, there's nowhere to go. So
I don't think it's idealist to say that.
I think it is. Because you're right. Look, it is right. Your idealism is correct. It's the way that Marx would see a utopia, right? In his mind, that's what humanity should strive for.
I'm not saying a perfect country would do this. I'm saying literally every other country on the planet already does this.
But we're not every other. What do I care what the other countries do? Dude, my neighbor goes and sleeps with sheep. Is that my problem? I'm not going to care what he's doing. I'm telling you, in our country, the
gentlemen
always hijacks. Basically,
we've gotten into a good old fashioned. We're going in circles. Fauci. Let's move on to Fauci. Something I assume all three of us can agree upon. Although maybe not.
Yes.
You want sports desk? Okay. All right. Let's do sports desk.
So, this is maybe a little bit partisan on the White Sox behalf, but. Their local camera guy just kept switching back to this crying Yankees kid as everything fell apart.
Oh.
First two games. No need to cry here, game 3. 2-0 to Benny. And the pickoff point goes into left field. Murakami gets up. He will score. And we are tied.
And then they go back to the crying kid.
Dumps this one into center field. It's going to drop. Here comes Tristan Peters to play the play.
Oh, everybody storms the field. Final score 6-5 for the Sox, and they go back to the crying kid. And then here's a clip. Watching the bottom here, there's a mascot on a scooter.
This is like twos running into Vesper. Bonk.
And in Little League kid trying to take the field, bumps right into him. Other interesting thing, the number one female disc golfer in Iceland is, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that, not because I don't like doing the accents, but because I don't even know what most of those letters are, is actually a trans, it's a dude, and the former top disc golfer in Iceland, also a dude. And now we could get to Fauci.
Well, I'm curious your three thoughts on all of this. I assume we're all in agreement, but hey, I will. You just never know.
I don't know, that second picture from the trans guy, I honestly, minus the caption, it actually looked like a girl. That second
This
picture.
is yeah, I mean, the
if you would have taken off that
slightly-
rainbow flag, I would have thought that was a girl.
I do appreciate when they try really hard. I was at the bar the other night in our small town, and there was this tall gentleman and this tiny little curvy girl with him, and who I thought was like a pretty girl from behind. And she turned around and she had a perfectly manicured beard, like not just a hairy lady. And I was like, dear God, like a bearded lady. That stuff I have trouble with. I'm like, you're making something up that really doesn't exist. Like, at least if you're gonna switch teams, like, put some effort into it and like really own it. Like this individual,
like Blair White.
Yeah, amazing. She did a great job becoming a woman. Yeah.
Yeah, like if I didn't know.
I mean, you could also go down on Saturday to the pub. Twos is going to show you how it's done.
Fauci, you three yahoos.
Come on, come back with something.
I'm gonna plead the fifth on that.
Okay.
Anything stick out to anybody on here other than Fauci getting grilled?
So many things. One, I think this is a really good thing that happened. Is he going to get punished? Is anything going to come of this? Probably not.
No.
But I don't think it means that we should throw this out like, oh, too little, too late. This stuff takes time. I think it's good news. It reminds me a lot of what like Sean Buckley's trying to do with the Allison inquiry. This is big. This is more like more people will start to awaken to the reality of the COVID failure policies. And this is important because without that, they will do it again. The Allison inquiry also shows that there are thousands of people who are injured and suffering and not getting medical care because this is not coming out in mainstream media. So I do think it's important, regardless of what happens to Fauci. What was really messed up about that whole thing, obviously the invoking the Fifth Amendment 111 times, even when he asked him like what color tie you had, it was really pathetic.
Yeah, what color's the carpet?
But even the fact that this man had this like egotistic diary and he was more focused on his legacy the whole time than he was actually about saving lives. Again, okay, he cared more about the legacy than saving lives, but it was really just really egotistic. And he was.
But we have to also remember something, right, Karla? Who empowered him to have this much power? It wasn't the Democrat establishment. This was all
swamp
under Donald Trump.
Dude, he dropped the ball on the AIDS crisis in the 80s.
Yeah, but no, hold on. We're just talking COVID now. Let's go up beyond that. We could talk about that later.
Yeah, no, I guess where I'm going with this.
Let's just be honest about this. Trump got really pissed at him after he gave him so much widespread power that Biden, one day before the end of his presidency, and Karla, you know this, and I don't know if you know this, Sean, gave him a pardon that goes retroactively back 11 years from 2014 until 2025. How do you preemptively pardon? And Biden said it. I know the day that Trump comes into office, he's going to prosecute Milley, the general. He's going to prosecute Fauci. He's going to go after the January 6th committee. And so he gave them all a preemptive pardon. This is what they all say for the people that are hearing. How can he not be prosecuted pleading the fifth? He has every right to plead the fifth. Every lawyer in America. No, he
can't be prosecuted because he has a pardon. If he's pardoned for it, he can't be prosecuted for it.
You're missing the point here, because every lawyer in America can say that he can plead this so as to not come off obstructing justice in a hearing. He may not be doing it for the other reasons of admissions of guilt, but he would be incriminating himself or perjuring himself, so he can plead the fifth. I believe me, you know me, Sean, you know me too. I'm a nerd for this stuff. I looked into it. I A/B tested it. He can do this. Carla's right. The optics are horrendous for him and everyone involved in this. What I will say, though, Karla, and I don't know if you looked into this, is that on a state level, he could be prosecuted and be in trouble. The Florida Attorney General decided after watching the hearing that he is going to be launching a full-scale investigation into him. And we're talking about anything after 2025. Remember that. He is pardoned for everything between 2014 and 2025, not after.
Yeah,
so you can still prosecute him, and that this does qualify for an obstruction of justice, what he did at that Senate hearing.
Good.
But again, let's ask the bigger question that you brought up, Karla. Is the issue here that him getting arrested is going to fix anything, or is it better that the optics of what this reveals in the public consciousness, the right thing that we should all be thinking about? All of us that were fighting against this narrative, I think he just proved 111 times that we're not all crazy, because if he was right, he would just defend himself.
Yeah. And it's obviously not just a case of someone who is trying their best, because what that hearing showed is he was saying one thing in public and a completely different thing in his diary, and then actively pressuring journalists and politicians with the full extent of like the president coming down on you if anyone brings up this topic about like the lab leak. So it was nonstop stories of how he lied and covered things up. Yeah.
Again, this is my question, Sean, and to everyone here. Is the fault really, at this point, like Fauci? Trump gave him all this power for Operation Warp Speed. At no point did his entire administration say, can you please explain to us exactly what you're doing? Remember, he could have prosecuted him throughout this time for lying, because the Wuhan thing and Rand Paul thing was still under the Trump administration. And nobody did anything about it. And that, to me, is what angers me here. I like Trump on so many things, but this one thing, why did you not dig deeper into this rat that basically got caught lying numerous times? Why did you not then take the opportunity to audit and investigate him?
I mean, you're not wrong, but I would argue that the reason why he was in that position, and if you're in the early stages of what was thought to be a very serious thing, you go with the tools you have readily available. You don't start making new ones. And this guy who managed to survive the absolute shit show that he was in the 80s and still continue on because it's basically impossible to fire bureaucrats happened to be the only guy standing there.
I suppose the bigger question that I could ask to all of you is, should Americans still have that Fifth Amendment in government? Can people in government plead the Fifth?
Not in government.
What do you think, Karla? The whole idea is that you should not be forced to incriminate yourself.
We don't have anything like that in Canada, do we?
No.
Yeah, I feel like you have to answer the question.
Here's the thing: is you're not being asked. You're being asked by your boss at that point to explain why you did what you did at your workplace. Mm-hmm. And in that context, to say, well, things are going to go bad for me if I honestly tell you what I did after you put the trust in me to execute this
I mean, it's the same
thing.
with parents, right, Tuz? If a parent asks their kid, can you imagine, did you steal the cookie? I refuse to answer on the basis that it might incriminate me. No parent is going to hear that and go, oh, well, okay, so I mean, I guess we have to appeal this with you. And no
but it's
no
different because
no wife's going to tell her husband, I'm sorry, did you cheat on me? I refuse to answer on the basis that it might incriminate. In no other place in society is this accepted. How is this put in politics?
Well, that's the thing, is that the American people that he's supposed to be answering to are his boss. And so you can't just, if your boss asks you why you fucked up or what you fucked up, and you say, I'm not going to tell you, he says, okay, fair enough, you're fucking fired.
Now, what do you guys think of our Canadian friends here watching this? Because I, at least in the States, the conversation's coming up. We're witnessing a lot of lies are coming out. My fear is that so many elbows up Canadians are watching this and they're like, yeah, but that's the States and we don't like them. We don't trust them. We don't like what they're doing. So we're going to ignore that and just continue to double down and just keep telling pregnant women to get these things. And we're not going to look at the outcomes of lockdowns. That's my fear, unless a lot of pressure starts to mount. I'm worried Canadians will double down. And I looked at what CBC said about this. They said like Fauci was grilled, but they didn't talk about why.
Can I just add a quick correction to all the Canadians listening to? I made a mistake a minute ago. Carla, we do have a similar Fifth Amendment in Canada. I just looked it up. We have Section 11C of the Charter. It says an accused person cannot be forced to testify against themselves. Charter Section 13, compelled testimony generally cannot later be used to incriminate the witness. In Charter Section 7, courts have interpreted as providing broader protections, including a pretrial right to silence. So we have essentially and effectively a Fifth Amendment. It's just broken down through 3 charter sections.
Okay, that was good.
Drivers twos.
Okay, well, I just want to point out the fact that I thought Carla brought up a really good point there. But yes, we have some fun drivers this week.
Sean might be one of them, driving across the country.
After backing into oncoming traffic on a busy highway near Montreal. And so here's what happened. The truck missed the
Montreal. I know exactly where this is.
Decides to pull over and start backing up. Several drivers can be seen swerving to avoid a collision. I just want to let this video play out here to show you what the truck driver actually does. You can see the highway is very busy. You can see those other trucks, some of them getting off. Other cars swerve to avoid him. The union that represents road controllers saying beyond this being so dangerous, the truck was also carrying refrigerated liquid carbon dioxide. The driver was issued a fine of about $1,600 and his license was taken away for a week.
CBC is now covering this. This is kind of the mashup effect at the same time. So, Vesper, Karla, in case you're not totally up to date, we've been covering bad drivers in this country on a weekly basis for probably about a year. And now, finally, CTV is starting to cover egregious drivers at the same time. This is another one. Credit Road on Bellefontaine, Ontario. And this truck ran out of room because the turn was too tight for it to make, despite the fact that there is a sign at the start of it saying trucks and buses prohibited, roadway impassable by large vehicles, turn around now.
Look at the map in the bottom right-hand corner. That a truck's not making it around that.
Oh, it's not, there's no hope of them making that turn. But the problem they have is that they put that sign in English. Now, here is a hopper bottom bin just in Saskatoon. And yeah, they're measuring
what
it
is that
for
thing?
posterity.
That looks like Canada's new space station that they're going to plop on that concrete pad.
So before it got mangled up, this would have been a granary with a hopper bottom on it, right? So it's just raised up a little bit, and it's got a funnel at the bottom so that nobody has to shovel it out. You can just put an auger right underneath it. And this is what happens when hopper meets flopper. And here's another guy getting stuck in the middle of nowhere.
I can tell by the flip-flops. See the flip-flops?
Those are Crocs.
Yeah, but same difference. Anyway, so that's what's happening in the trucking world this week.
Do we have any sing for the tears this week?
What's that?
Do we have any sing for the years this week?
We did, but it got cut. There was
That's my favorite part.
You could thank Sean for that. About 1.
You could thank Vesper, Twos, and Karla for that. Okay.
about
I
$1.7
knew exactly
million
it would
dollars.
be an hour and 34 minutes in, and you yahoos would go and do your thing.
About
Jason Kenney.
$1.7 million worth of drugs was seized, along with an anti-tank rifle. And there was about 30 people arrested. All of them have names that were Singh or very similar to Singh.
Okay, so hold on. Can I push back? I'm not being contrarian just on purpose here. How many of you have been to Biloxi?
I'm not
Mississippi?
even sure where that is.
Okay, it's in the South. How many of you been to Kansas? Okay,
I have not.
I think Sean's trying to see where I'm going with this here. You want to talk about Yahoo, right? We're talking about like the immigrants here. Have you been, any of you, to a Walmart in the South?
Yes.
Yep.
Do you understand that, like, for me, the fact that these people are Sikh or Indian is not the issue here. There are white people that are literally from another planet when you go south to the United States. They do some of the funkiest things. Dude, we were driving on I-98, okay? This truck, and you could clearly see the guy's hand outside the window, is driving against all the streets on the road, all just so he can go back. Cops were chasing him. Thank God my wife and I had been on the side. We didn't scratch the car. We went not to the outside, but to the inside, to the separating rail, just so that he could stop and make an entire U-turn with an 18-wheeler. I don't think this is necessarily just an immigrant thing. If you go to parts of North America, stupid is stupid no matter where you go. And it's, I think, all tied to a lack of higher learning or education. That's my opinion. I'll take the pushback if you want to give it.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to give it. So the point of the truckers, the drivers every week, and the sing with me, sing for the years, sing for the laughter, sing for the tears, is that it's getting to the point where it's almost comical how the exact same last name with the exact same nationality dominates our stories about crime in this country. And so we're not bringing in their best and brightest. We're not taking away the cream of the crop.
So
we're bringing in a bunch of damn gangsters.
If I challenged you twos on this by saying, can you get me statistics that show the disparity between whites and non-whites as opposed when it comes to crime in general, what would you say?
We're just talking about people with the last name Singh, which
I'll concede that there are Mustafas, Mohammeds, Singhs, all these people that do this.
Which ChatGPT says over 100 cases this year already.
Okay, and how many could we say that are like Thorntons, Newmans, and Petersons, and
right? You'd have to compare Singh with Newman, or you'd have to compare Singh with Jones
in the category, right? Of let's say automobile crimes or things like this. Has anyone looked into this? Is what I'm asking.
Well, I think the fact that, for example,
not that one makes the other better. I'm just saying, have we looked into it?
Just you could be really anecdotal with this, and I would say still statistically meaningful, because anytime somebody does something stupid in this day and age, somebody else is filming it. And overwhelmingly, you're seeing flip-flops, turbans, beaded curtains, and you can practically smell the curry coming off the screen. Or is it possible that
we're just filming those more than the other ones?
So you're saying, just
is
so
it possible? I don't have any proof.
I just to zip for a sec, just so I can get Vesper's thought process here. That we're over analyzing a certain group of people, and the other groups of people are doing the same thing. Is that roughly what you're saying?
Yeah, over-representing. I'm not saying it's not true. It could be true. I haven't looked into it, okay?
Okay.
Is it possible that because of the influx of... Hold on! Is it possible that because of this immigration thing, which is radioactive, Sean, that all eyes are faceted on this segment of anyone that's not white? And we're not looking at the statistics. I don't need white people to be guilty. I just want to know what is the actual number disparity, right, between this group and this group in this particular area of crime?
It would be a good number to look at. But what I also think is anyone immigrating to this country should be afraid to litter. And it speaks to our poor vetting process, and it speaks to our poor assimilation process. Like I feel like I shouldn't see any of these cases from, like, they should be perfect citizens if they're coming
Karla,
here.
in Montreal, almost all the homeless downtown, almost all the homeless are whites. They're the ones that are peeing in the streets. They're the ones that are pooping in the alleyways. I mean, I guess that's
a different country.
It is. Okay, to be fair, it is. I'm just saying when people are only coming at immigration, because immigration was a problem, right, Karla? Like a couple of years ago, we brought in 1 million people, I think minimum, maybe more. But the problem is that no one has showed me definitively, or at least roughly statistically, what's the disparity between this group of people versus this group of people. I'm ashamed that I haven't looked into it. And maybe it's just it's a football you're not supposed to touch. But I wonder if it ends up being like 60, 70% like Caucasian versus, or even 40% Caucasian and 60%, then I mean, does the conversation change for any of you if it's 40% Caucasian and 60% non-Caucasian?
Okay, I don't know the stats, but I would argue this is that when you look at the fact that overwhelmingly anytime one of these videos shows up on the internet, it is somebody with a turban.
Yeah, but that's bias.
That's
a preconceived bias.
Vesper, let me make my point, please.
You have no point. It's a preconceived bias.
For what you're suggesting for the statistics to be accurate, there would have to be a presumption that people would see things like that Caucasian people are doing and choose not to record it, which I think is preposterous, because if you see somebody doing something incredibly stupid, you're going to record it no matter what. You're not just going to say, oh, it's a white dude, so I'm just going to put my phone away and let him carry on.
Let me give you an example. The other day, somebody stabbed in France. Did you know this, Sean, Karla? Someone was running around in France stabbing people in the name of Allah. Did you guys see this online?
It happens like every week.
No, hold on. They post this, and it says, should we let these people in? I forget who's the one that posted it. I replied with a video of a guy in the United States going around stabbing people in the name of Jesus Christ. So I guess the question is, are we giving an actually fair assessment, or are we just so polarized in one direction of what we want? Not that there isn't a problem with immigration. Let's not deny, and not that isn't a problem with radical Islamism. I'm not saying that at all. I'm the guy that lived there and lived in a war for 4 years. Believe me, I know. I'm just saying, is it overrepresented, Sean, to the point where we're not looking at this other subset of what's happening? Because if you just isolate and only talk about that, then that looks like it is the only problem.
So I would bet money that
how much?
That there are less people stabbing people in the name of Jesus Christ than there are people who are yelling Allah Akbar.
Can we do this across history?
So
hold on. I want to ask Karla this question. Karla is a sister in Christ, so I want to ask her this question. Across all of history, who would you say has probably perpetrated the most evil, Christians or Muslims?
I don't think
2nd century to today.
That's not
from
a
2nd
problem
century
that we're dealing with, though. I
know. I'm just saying, is it plausible that it's possible? You're right. I don't think many people are walking around stabbing people in the name of Jesus Christ. I agree with you today. But could they be
the 2nd century isn't even fair.
I think we need to look at what we're dealing with today.
Okay, so is it really that they're Muslim or that they're immigrants? Can we just separate those two and I'll stop? Are we
should we
saying
give them a
primarily
pass
that they're Muslims or immigrants?
I think it's unvetted immigrants.
Okay, so it's immigration. It has nothing to do with Muslim. They could be Filipino that are not vetted, for example.
Sure.
Oh, then that's fair. I can see. I can see that that's the issue. It's not just that it's Muslims; it's that it's anyone that's from a third world.
When it comes to the trucking industry, Vesper, the issues seem to be predominantly from
Sikh.
one group
Yeah, Sikh.
of people. Right. So what we're talking about isn't immigration as a whole.
But those same Sikh people were in the
what we
freedom
just
convoy,
showed, what we
right?
just showed was what we've been following for the last year
I know, but
plus,
Sean-
which is
Okay,
trucking.
Vesper, let
But
me
Sean,
give
hold
you
on.
an
In the freedom
example.
convoy, there was a ton of Sikh people.
Sure.
So-
Just because you bring up immigration, then everybody goes. Then the typical Canadian response is, "I'm not against immigration." Well, of course you're not against immigration. It's what Karla's talking about.
There's nothing wrong with calling out exactly what you see. The reason that the rape gang inquiry just happened in the UK is because everyone refused to actually mention that 80-90% of the individuals committing 250,000 rapes and human trafficking were Pakistani Muslims. The whole reason that that was allowed to happen is because people refused to just say what was actually happening.
Right.
Does that mean all
I
Pakistani Muslims
agree.
are that way?
I
Of
agree.
course not.
I agree. I see your point. You're saying if there are clusters of issues that are happening illegally, we should highlight it. We shouldn't try to diffuse it by trying to argue the counter, like how many white people do this. Of course, white people do these things too, like rape gangs and stuff like this.
If a bunch
But-
of white people start stabbing people in the middle, like in the name of Jesus Christ, I will be the first one to call that group out. No problem. No problem.
Hey, you guys just said somebody wants to move on. Jerry, I apologize if we're boring you with this.
Well, we got 15 minutes left, okay? I got 15 minutes, then I have to hop because I have this place called Karla Treadway's home stomping ground that I got to slowly move towards. So Jason Kenny. Jason Kenny keeps coming up no matter how many times I tell Twos to wipe this off. Jason Kenny.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's talk about Jason Kenny, despite the fact that it's dumb and there's nothing of value to add. Oh, wait a second. What does this say? Oh, this is Jason Kenny talking specifically advocating for the abolition of dairy supply management in this country. Jason Kenny taking an incredibly safe conservative position on something, and oh, look, it's the dairy cartel. Does anybody else find this interesting? A year and a half after the entire conservative caucus voted in favor of supply management and protecting it from international negotiations, you've got Jason Kenny taking a stance. Now, I've been saying for a while that he's jockeying for leadership of the
Federal
Conservative Party,
Conservatives. Yep.
and it looks like I was wrong. I think he's actually running for leader of the PPC.
Rocks.
Okay.
I'm going.
And
I'm
then-
going. We got to stay on Jason Kenny?
Okay,
Rock.
I was just gonna say, and on the other hand, we've got Danielle Smith advocating for more immigration, for making stupid concessions about pipelines and tweaking the equalization formula rather than ending it. Maybe she's running for leadership of the NDP.
Rocks. Saskatoon wastes nearly $300,000 on large plastic rocks. The Canadian Taxpayer Federation is calling on the city of Saskatoon to stop wasting money on so-called art after spending $297,000 on 3 plastic rocks.
That's almost as bad as the river that you could call and talk to. Almost as bad.
Almost. Well, here's where it's even worse. Saskatchewan's already got a lot of rocks. They've got real ones.
Yeah, but you can't.
And people
move
will
them
just
cheap.
pay you to take them away. My buddy's got one in the corner of his yard that's just as big as these. He's in Saskatoon, in the exact same city that he's in. They found it when they were digging up the basement, and they put it in the corner of the yard. And he thought it was a decent spot.
Can you
and
click the picture? Can I see how good of a quality that is?
They're usually terrible.
No, I can't zoom in. We'll
And
talk
how
to.
hard is it to make
Good
a
of a
plastic
quality. Who
rock?
cares? It's
Yeah,
300 grand on 3
if
rocks.
if it's a convincing fake rock, then that's somehow more defensible.
It's a plastic rock.
Okay, not only is it a
There are
plastic rock
advantages
that's
to plastic rocks.
$300,000.
Hold on. There are advantages to plastic rocks, Sean. You would do well to probably invest in one because they're hollow and you can hide in them in plain sight. So the better
and you
quality.
think it's gonna last longer than a rock?
Dude, if I could hide in a rock and like create like
Vesper,
a bunker
if you
under
want to
that rock,
spend 300 grand of your own money on
if I
plastic
had to
rocks,
hide, yes.
you go give her. You give her. You take your 300 grand, you go give her, I'll laugh at you, and I'll be like, oh, sure, all right.
But
you're talking
this
about
is-
taking our money
This is
and buying
$300,000
3 plastic rocks.
in a
Just
place
saying.
that has them ubiquitously. This would be like if Montreal spent $300,000 on fake baguettes.
Cameras. A 77-year-old man staged a one-man protest against flock cameras, blocking its view by holding a 12-foot pole skimmer against it.
So yeah, he's about to get arrested, and he's just sitting there protesting those flock cameras that are all over the United States. This guy's just holding a sign up blocking it.
Fuck camera, right? And you got
And
the
so,
boys
yeah,
out here
that's-
protecting it.
That's
So I
just,
looked into
that's-
this. We have more restrictions in Canada, surprisingly, against these things. But where Flock wants to go is drones, which is pretty dystopian to think that they can just have 24/7 drones hovering around, recording everyone at all times.
So we need to basically all invest in devices that just send off an EMP signal.
You mean shotguns?
No, those are too loud. An EMP burst would be the best thing.
I actually is an EMP burst audible, but also 3 flock cameras were destroyed in New York, and anytime we see surveillance cameras get chopped down, for some reason it ends up on the show. I'm not sure why. I don't know who's making the editorial decisions. What are you people thinking? But for some reason, every time a surveillance camera gets chopped down,
Sean. I love Sean's face.
we end up talking about it.
CBC, Lisa Raitt? Something like that.
Lisa Raitt. So, yeah, I just I don't know if you guys saw this clip. I just want to look at
the provincial alcohol
this for a
ban
minute.
seemed to have become an irritant to many in the States. And so I'm in a province, British Columbia, where the premier, as you know, said, I think a quote is, there's no chance in hell that BC.
Just take a look at what Ian Hannamansing is doing here. He's sitting in front of a microphone with headphones on. This is probably the funniest thing that we could talk about all week. CBC, somebody at CBC has been looking at things like this, looking at things like what we do. And they're like, we're losing to these guys. Why are we losing to these guys? And the best answer they could come up with as to why they are losing to people like us is because the people in the newsroom aren't wearing headphones and speaking into visible microphones.
He needs a baseball hat too. That would help.
He does. This is just I just found this just astounding and hilarious.
Great observation, Carl. It's sad.
Little neon sign behind him. It's got to get a little flashy. Yeah.
Is his last name Sick?
It's Hannamansing.
Hannamansing.
Is that close?
It ends in sing.
Okay.
Number 11, twos. I don't know what you got for us.
Oh no.
We got
Oh,
to
no.
talking. We got to talking, and I didn't bring it up. So here's Ueno Gold Heist, latest in string of incidents. I almost forgot to include this, and that's why it got brought in as number 11. Thank you very much, Sean. So July 19th, so a couple weeks ago, but in Tokyo, thieves broke into a car. These 2 guys had filled the car with jewelry and gone for lunch, left the car parked. Thieves broke in and stole 310 million yen worth of gold, which is a couple million US kind of thing. Interesting thing, though, this is in the same area that we covered that heist in a few months ago, where they ran up on the guys as they were loading the car and stole all of that jewelry. So you've got this specific area of Tokyo where people just keep getting robbed of all of their fancy gold and jewelry that they're just keeping in vehicles for some strange reason that makes no sense. It's basically like the jewelry equivalent of, you know, that classic post you see every once in a while. It'll have a picture or two like smoking hot babes, and it'll say, "Be warning, be out on the lookout for these women. They will have sex with you and steal your wallet." I've already had my wallet stolen 4 times this week. This
Go
is
back to that
for-
site. This site is amazing. The other side stories here.
I didn't even look at them.
Hostesses using AI to enlarge breasts. AI fortune telling scammers fleecing victims up to $500,000 for fake exorcisms. What is this?
Yeah, and then
I
Hacker
don't
claims
think
to have amassed
Karla,
$1 billion
you're seeing a thimbleful into the brain or the mind of twos.
Well, no, I've never been to this website before, so it's got no idea of the stuff that I would be interested in reading from it. This happens to be whatever is the most interesting article that they have on their site right now. I imagine it's kind of a New York Post thing.
Final one for the group of you is the Canadian politician Bill Oliver. I'm curious to remove the AI prompt from his speech. I don't know if everyone saw this, but I assume this is just going to become more and more and more of a trend because we've started to pick this up. Twos on the show. Once again, here we'll bring it in. Twos.
Yeah, we were talking about it in a Pakistani newspaper a little while ago, and this is in New Brunswick provincial parliament.
The powers actually granted to those offices. Here's a more natural flowing version of that section that reads like a legislative speech rather than a series of short points.
Okay, one thing that Substack's doing right now, which I am thrilled about, is you can press a button at the bottom of any article and it'll tell you how much of it was produced by AI or human. And I've been ringing as 100% human, which is great news.
Okay.
And I use AI for research and editing, but this is good. They're kind of drawing that line in the sand and getting rid of like a lot of that fluff. I don't want to read AI articles.
No, I'm totally with you. And so is that some people's Substack or is that Substack across the board?
So you can press the button on any article that you read, and then you can choose your own algorithm. Like, hey, do you want to read a bunch of AI content or do you only want 100% human?
There's just one problem with that. If I can be again the asshole in the conversation. It's been 2.5 months. I've been writing my own LLM. And I have a homebrewed version of my own language model. I've trained it to be completely me. And the quirks I'm still working out, but it's producing content that is passing, Karla, all the AI tests because I've basically just been training it. What are we going to do when people like me, who are using their own LLMs at this point that are trained for them, produce mass amounts of data that you're not going to be able to tell is generated by AI. Tuz, I just shared something with you on X. I just want to share with you what it's been doing for me that nobody else has had so far.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a public service announcement it should be more a public service for everybody. I just created this app. It's been 2 months that my LLM has basically been helping me work through this. This is why I created my own model.
And
it's an app. Go ahead.
It scrapes the web for forgotten and hard to find clips. Now finds vids between 95 and 2026. Anything I should search? Any requests?
There are literally hundreds of videos that are not just tagged on YouTube. Some of them are in the archive. Some of them are whatever. AI is basically gathering all this, giving me a summary of every single one of them. All the if they don't have closed captioning, it'll transcribe everything. No one can tell. And what are we going to do when people have their own LLM that literally is them? Go ahead, Sean.
We're going to leave that for a different discussion because we have a minute left and my family just rolled back in. So I know we could have a 15-minute discussion on that. Two's happy news before we sign off today.
Okay. Press Progress is losing staff due to a dire financial situation because of a major lawsuit. So this is presumably the Kalen Ford defamation lawsuit that has already seen several instances of six-figure payouts for completely derailing her career by publishing stuff that was abjectly false. And now Press Progress is laying people off because of the financial constraints of fighting this and presumably the expected financial burden of paying out. And then we've got a 16-year-old lifeguard. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but this guy is just fighting wave after wave after wave, dragging this kid out. It was absolutely phenomenal what this guy did.
heard it was his first day on the job. I don't know if that's true.
Oh, really?
Super badass. He's only 16.
Yeah, I saw that he was only 16, but I didn't realize it was his first day on the job. But just well done and absolutely
So brave.
Yeah, it's really impressive. Other happy news. The independence petition has been verified and confirmed successful by Elections Alberta, despite the fact that they did some absolutely draconian selection process for what would and would not be counted. So, for example, if you got called and you didn't know exactly what date and time you signed the petition at, they disqualified you. If you're like, yeah, I signed it. Okay, well, what date and time was it? Well, I don't know. I think it might have been in early March. Nope. Boom. Deleted. And so even with that, they had a little over 222,000, which is a pretty good number.
It's crazy.
Some community notes. August 7th, Jason Levine, Maxime Bernier, and the Holmes family in Grand Prairie. Lessons from Quebec, what Albertans can learn from 2 referendums. You can go to levineshow.com to find tickets for that. August 21st, you got the Alberta Derby Day, Century Downs Racetrack, Rocky View County. Premier Daniel Smith, MLA Angela Pitt, and other UCP MLAs for an evening of horse racing in support of the Airdrie East UCP Association. August 22nd, you have Big Tech, Bigger Questions, Beyond the Headlines of the Sturgeon County Meta Data Center, free event to attend, St. Albert Curling Rink from 1 to 3 p.m. August 20.
Oh, make sure you go into the details on that.
What do you mean the details? That's
the
what I wrote down.
The details of exactly which treaty land it's on, the pronouns of the people involved.
August 29th, Crossfield Demolition Derby, August 29th, Crossfield Demolition Derby is coming up. And then the final one, still highlighting Drew Weatherhead's new book, Fractures in Peace. You can get it online. And if you do buy a copy online, I was talking to Drew earlier this week, if you read it and enjoyed it, go put a comment in there for him. He's searching for people to, talk about the book online. And anyways, there you go. Mashup 219. I haven't talked for 2 hours straight. I've been listening, I guess. Can't spit it out. Appreciate Vesper, Karla Treadway, Two's here as always, hopping on and doing this.
Thank you guys very much.
A very different feel of a mashup compared to weeks in the past. A little bit of a roundtable action. Either way, Karla, Vesper, thanks for hopping on and guesting with us. Twos, as always. We're here every Friday, 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, and we'll be back next week. Twos or twos not. I don't know. We'll see what Twos tells me this week, but I'm just going to assume from now on you're going to be hopping on. Either way.
Hey, just don't forget to stick around, Karla. I'm eager to hear what you were talking about.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I know Sean needs to bounce and everything, but
well, I'm going to see Karla soon enough anyways. So either way, thanks folks for tuning in, and we'll catch up to you next week.
Welcome to the Mashup.
Tell me whether I'm wrong or right. East or west, up or down, side to side. I sit to stand and fall to fly. Of all of my impulsive plans, pop and lock and salsa dances on demand. I follow leading off the map and stop the chatter, scream happily.
Welcome to the Mashup.
Welcome to the mashup.